You'll get every little bit. You ain't never seen a trip like this. Heaven at your fingertips. Don't you let a minute slip. Just say you have me. Oh, tasty and sexy. Hope you don't sleep on me. I got good plenty.
Welcome to the Real Peachy Podcast.
America has become so dystopian that I truly thought all of these headlines were fake. But they're not, and this story is tragically completely real. 6-year-old Denise Prudhomme of Tempe, Arizona was unalive at her desk for over 4 days before anyone found her. May she rest in peace. She scanned in for work 7 a.m. on Friday, never scanned out. She was found at her desk not because anyone was looking for her, a manager, a colleague, a friend, but because she was literally starting to decompose and people were complaining about the smell. I don't know the details of her personal life, but if she had someone waiting at home for her or friends that she had plans with that weekend and she didn't show up, this story, while still tragic, would have ended a lot sooner. Wells Fargo's defense for this extreme lapse of security and employee care is that most of the people there work remote and she was in a secluded cubicle on the 3rd floor away from people, which is not an excuse for any company, but especially for Wells Fargo, who lists their employees, their people, as their #1 value. I'm sorry, she wasn't an employee, she was a team member because their people are treasured resources to be invested in. Her passing was an unavoidable tragedy. Sadly, people probably pass away at their work way more often than we like to think about. But for Wells Fargo to not even go looking for her for almost 5 days is unforgivable. But do we really expect anything else from the bank that just paid $3 billion worth of fines for opening hundreds of thousands of fake accounts? Wells Fargo deserves their failure, but Denise deserved so much better.
Hey, welcome to the Real Peachy Podcast, and this is V Peachy. I am coming to you with another episode, and today we are talking about jobs, 9 to 5. I don't know however you work, whenever you work, wherever you work. We're talking about taking care of yourself because these jobs do not care about you. Okay? So let's just address this, something that I saw. Okay? Okay. So I originally discovered this on the Neighborhood Talk on Instagram. And when I read this, I thought it was a lie. I'm like, this can't be true. You know what I mean? I'm like, this cannot be the truth. This is a lie. I had to Google it. And it was. And I literally was laying in my bed crying when I actually read the story. And it was really short, and they showed like a little news clip of it. And it blew my mind. So, a woman, a 60-year-old woman by the name of Denise Prudhomme, was found deceased after clocking in at work at Wells Fargo in Tempe, Arizona. The office, if anybody who lives in Arizona or who knows like exactly where this is, the office is near Priest Drive in Washington Street. She, 7 o'clock in the morning, she scanned into work and went to her space. The story is she, was in a cubicle on the 3rd floor of this office building, like not in the aisleway, it was maybe like in a cut or something. And she scanned in, went to her desk, and passed away. That lady sat there for 4 days. She was not found until Tuesday. "4 days. She was not found until Tuesday. That's crazy to me. Now, when I first read this from the Neighborhood Talk on Instagram, that's where I believe I know it was on Instagram. I want to say it was Neighborhood Talk. Either way, you can Google it. I'll put the link in the description box of this. The Google link. So I did some research. It was the medical examiners did come back with a report. It was no foul play. They say they're saying that she died of natural causes. And we all know natural causes could have been a stroke, heart attack, who knows, but this woman died in their office, Wells Fargo office, and she was not found for 4 days. Now, the sad part is, to me, is that it's no sympathy shown for this woman. I'm looking at these comments. I'm looking at people from the spokesperson for Wells Fargo. It's just like, kind of almost making excuses. Like, well, the office is in an industrial part of the city, and how was it said? I wish I could quote it. I'm gonna have to go back and find it because I don't want to misquote these people. But the office is in the industrial part of the city, and people leave the office at like 2:30 on Fridays. So it's easy for people to be left in the office by themselves. And people were saying that they smelled it, but they thought it was sewage problems. And we lost the co-worker, we lost her, and we want to apologize to the family. And yeah, that's about it. Let's wrap this shit up because we need to find somebody take her place. Like, and don't get me wrong, business is business. You know what I mean? Like, I get that part of it. Man, if you sick, go see about yourself. If your mama's sick, daddy's sick, kids sick, cousin sick, uncle sick, friend sick, go see about your people and go find you another job. I can't. So let me tell you, listen, when I first read this, I was downstairs in my house on the couch, just flicking through the phone, just scrolling. This was so unbelievable to me, because sometimes when I read stuff, it just be like, wow, it's a wow factor, and it's just like, yeah, okay. But this story hit me so hard that once I got up off the couch and I went to go get in bed, I had to Google it. I'm like, I have to know if this is for real, because this sounds unbelievable to me. I Googled it, and as I spoke it into Google, sure enough, 15 stories came up of Tempe, Arizona, Denise Pruitt home, 60-year-old woman. 4 days later, she scanned into work, found, Wells Fargo, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, and you know how you go down the rabbit hole, Wells Fargo is a horrible place to work. They don't care about their employees. I mean, hell no, they don't. Obviously. I'm like, people don't clean up the building? Nope. And then they say she was found by another employee on Tuesday. And then this what else is like kind of mind-boggling to me. So some of y'all don't know me. So, but, and I, people who you can get to know me. before I've ever worked for myself, and I've always had like driving jobs. For instance, I've done Uber and Lyft for 9 years. Okay? But even before I've done that, I've had administrative jobs. In the office, work from home, all kind of stuff, right? So we all know that once you hit that clock, somebody is micromanaging, somebody on your ass all day. Emails, what is it, the little chat? I can't think of what it's called. Because every job is different what they call it. Clocking in, clocking out. So you mean to tell me that she was clocked in for 4 days and nobody noticed that? Nobody sent her an email. Nobody noticed that she wasn't responding to emails. Nobody noticed that when she scanned in, she never scanned out. Like, where's the security measures? Because that's what, some jobs, that's the point of having to scan in, because it's a security measure. So nobody noticed that this woman never scanned out. I'm wondering, did she have a car? Nobody noticed that a car was sitting in the parking lot for 4 days. Nobody noticed that. So that actually would have been 5 days. She was found 4 days later. So that actually would have been 5 days. Nobody noticed that a car was sitting there for 5 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Nobody noticed that her car was sitting there for 5 days. Especially considering that most people work from home. Nobody noticed that. Who was her supervisor? Who was her boss? Who's her team lead? Like, questions need to be answered for me. Because it's just unbelievable to me. I just couldn't believe it. I sat in my bed and I cried. Like she was my homegirl. Like I knew her. Because it just hurt my feelings.
Tonight, Tempe police are confirming the timeline of when the woman clocked in to when her colleagues found the body.
They say a colleague found Prudhomme dead at her desk in a cubicle while walking around the building on Tuesday, August 20th. Prudhomme's cubicle was reportedly on the 3rd floor and away from the main aisle. This employee says several people had smelled a foul odor, but passed it off as faulty plumbing.
Body was there about 4 days before anybody found it, before anybody walked up to her and just to say hi, make sure she's okay. She was just laying on her desk.
A Maricopa County medical examiner is investigating the cause of death.
She probably would have been my homegirl if I worked there. Hey, Miss Denise. Hey, how you doing? We probably would have been chatting. My girl, Miss Denise, she came to work today. What's up, Miss Denise? That would have been my homegirl. Miss P, her name Prud Home. Miss P, I ain't never met nobody with a last name like that. You married? I wonder if she was married. I don't know. I doubt it. Maybe divorced or widowed. I wonder if she had children. She got to be somebody's maybe wife or ex-wife or, like I said, widow or somebody's sister, somebody's niece, somebody's cousin, somebody's grandmother, something. Like it. I am just so devastated. Like, this just took me out. Like, I'm laying in my bed almost distraught because I cannot believe that this happened to this woman. And it really made me sad. Like, real bad. Real bad. You can't be mad at God's will. You know what I mean? God saw it fit for her to, pass away at work that day. But Jesus Christ, like 4 days, Wells Fargo? Come on, Wells Fargo. Come on, what we doing? I'm just hurt. Come on, man, what are we doing? it really just hurt my feelings. I was shocked. And like I said, I went in like this rabbit hole of learning more about Wells Fargo. A lot of their employees are like they suck as an employer, but it's so hard to get jobs these days. So of course, people ain't trying to leave their jobs. They're just putting up with it, like most people do. Because it's so hard to either maintain a job or find a new job. Most times when people lose a job, they out of a job for months and years these days. So they pretty much just putting up with it. But I'm just appalled. My flabbers were gasted when I read this. And I just can't believe it that this lady just died like that, and the sewage problems. Like, is this a smell that we usually smell? And then let me say this: the lack of compassion and sympathy that people have is crazy. So this is another reason why I thought it was fake, because the lack of compassion and sympathy. So on Instagram, the comments, insane. People saying stuff like, well, in Arizona it be so hot and this and that, and I'm thinking like, it wasn't hot in that building. What do it being hot in Arizona got to do with somebody sitting at a desk for 4 days? I don't understand. What did that got to do with anything? Make me understand. Come on now. Well, if she went to work, why her family ain't check on her? And this and that, and why her family wasn't checking on her? Like, how her family wasn't checking on her? How that her family wasn't checking on her? I'm sure the last place her family thought to check was at her job. I'm sure that was the last place her family thought to check was at work. Because I would. That's the last place. Listen, if I know my sister goes to work on a Friday and it's Saturday afternoon and I realize, dang, I ain't talked to my sister since maybe Thursday night, and I've been texting her, and I'm be like, I know she went to work. I'm not gonna think that she's deceased on her desk at work. I'm not gonna. That's the last place I'm gonna think. And then when Sunday come up, I'm still not gonna think she's deceased at work. When Monday come up, I'm still not gonna think she's deceased at. When Tuesday come up, I'm not gonna think that. Never, no day. I'm not gonna think that ever. I mean, now, because this happened, maybe. But before now, I'm never gonna think that. Ever. She has an administrative job. She ain't no damn sniper. She's not a professional boxer. She's not, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Now, let's say this. We don't know this lady's background. She could have been sick. It could have been stuff going on with her. Don't know that. They didn't give all that context. I don't know. But even still, why was she not found for 4 days, Wells Fargo? And they probably was like, well, okay, let's get in touch with HR. We got to put her position up. We need somebody to fill that position. Denise Prudhomme, the one that was found dead at the desk. Yeah, her work, productivity is low in that department. We missed one. Nobody was working for about 3 days. productivity is low. We need somebody to fill that position quick. Like, you think they give a damn? They don't care. Their statement was crazy. And they left like a couple of different statements. And I read every single one of them. Like on different, they left one on something called The Brief. I think CNN. They left different. The Wells Fargo left a couple of different statements. But the one, like I said, the one that was the most unsympathetic was the one that they was like, it seemed like they was just making excuses. Like, well, the building is in a industrial area, and her area, she was on the third floor, and she was in an area of the building where her cubicle wasn't in an aisle. It was kind of like, in a cut. So we didn't, and who is her supervisor? Who her team lead? They need to be fired. Because why didn't nobody know that she did somebody even know she went to work that day? Like, are we not checking her productivity? What does she do there? So it's just free bands at this job? Because if that's the case, I want to do what she do. What did she do at Wells Fargo that you can clock in and die and don't nobody pay attention? What do you do at work, ma'am? Where you could literally clock in and die and nobody pays attention. What's your position? What's your position? I need to do some more research because I need to know exactly what it is that she does that nobody cares for 4 days, or at least 3. Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. Well, she was found on Tuesday. So at least 3 days, body stinking. Well, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, what made the person on Tuesday go look for her? What was the turning point for this? And it was a co-worker. It wasn't the boss. It wasn't the supervisor. It wasn't the team lead. It wasn't any of those people. This was a co-worker. So what made this co-worker go to Miss P's, my homegirl Denise? What made Miss Denise, what made that co-worker go to this, not center cubicle in a cut to go look for the 60-year-old lady, Miss Denise? Oh, I'm gonna look in the obituaries. I wonder, I gotta do some more research, because I'm gonna look in the obituaries for Miss Denise, because she may not necessarily have lived. Because what's the county that Tempe, Arizona is in? I need to do some more research on this, because I just want to know. Like, I want to try to find her obituary to see, like, what her life was like. Because I don't know. I just can't believe it. And I feel away. And like I said, I was crying over this lady, and I don't even know who this lady is. I was crying about the lack of compassion from people on, like I said, people on Instagram just talking stupid, saying dumb stuff in the comments. When you go to work, is it really Wells Fargo's fault? Yes, it's their fault. It's not their fault that she died, but it's their fault that she sat there for 4 days and, just nobody gave a fuck. Like, nobody cared. It's their fault. I don't care what nobody say. It's their fault. It's Wells Fargo's fault that she sat there for 4 days. Period. Who else are we gonna blame it on? It's their fault. She scanned in. She let them know that she was in attendance, present. It's their fault. I don't care what nobody say. Come on, what are we doing? And I feel away. What's your thoughts on this?
Hey, that shit away. Hey, that shit away.
Deep Brooks exclusive.
Had some people that was close to me. They ain't dead, they just smoked to me as always. Made they bed and now they laying on it. Be careful what you say, you gotta stand on it. Yeah, that shit away. Don't accept your apology, that shit away. Ain't no texting or calling me, that shit away. Yeah, that shit away.